In this video, we're going to take a look at Sony's brand new BRAVIA Theater Bar 8 and Bar 9 Dolby Atmos soundbars that feature their spatial sound mapping technology, room calibration, and so much more, all packed inside a slim and elegant looking package. We reviewed Sony's HT-A5000 and HT-A7000 soundbars when they first came out and were really impressed with the clarity of vocals and the height effects it was able to produce. The new HT-A8000 and HT-A9000, or Bar 8 and Bar 9 for short, take the technology of those previous soundbars and make it even better. Let's first discuss Sony's 360 spatial sound mapping technology, as it's what makes so many Sony products sound so accurate and immersive. The Bar 8 and Bar 9 utilize this technology to create 5 different phantom speakers. By using advanced algorithms, they place these phantom speakers to the left and right of the soundbar, creating a much larger soundstage. They also place one slightly above the soundbar to make the sound seem as if it's coming directly from your TV, creating more convincing dialogue in movies and TV shows. And finally, they utilize their up-firing speakers to bounce the sound off your ceiling and place 2 Phantom Atmos speakers right above you. To create an even more immersive bubble of sound and improve the bass performance, you can add a wireless Sony SA-SW3 subwoofer or SA-SW5 subwoofer and Sony's SA-RS5 or SA-RS3 wireless rear speakers. Adding either of those wireless rear speakers allows you to not only have sound coming from behind you, but also allows Sony's tech to create 11 phantom speakers, which creates a much more realistic and immersive experience. And while both of these soundbars have decent bass themselves, adding either of these subwoofer options helped take the low-end duties away from the soundbar and made the entire system sound way better. Both soundbars support Dolby Atmos, DTS:X, and when you add either of the rear speakers, they are also IMAX Enhanced certified. In addition, stereo music and movies that aren't in Dolby Atmos can be upmixed using Sony's new upmixer, which extracts and redistributes individual objects around you. For movies, this feature also detects human voices to isolate them and make them clearer as well. To get the very best sound and allow the 360 spatial sound mapping to work its very best, calibrating these soundbars will be key. Luckily, Sony makes it super easy to do this during the setup process on the new BRAVIA Connect app. The calibration will take into account where your soundbar is, where the optional rear speakers are located, and where the optional subwoofer is located, and use a series of test tones that are measured using your phone's microphone, and then calibrate your system to make it sound perfect for your room's acoustic characteristics. The entire setup process is extremely easy to follow on the app and walks you through each step. Now, these next few features will give you some good reasons of why you would want to pair up one of these Sony soundbars with a Sony TV. First off, we are huge fans of Sony TVs because of their AI cognitive processing, which gives them an incredible image. But another great reason to be in the Sony ecosystem is their ability to seamlessly work with these new soundbars, the Bar 8 and Bar 9, as well as their new BRAVIA Theater Quad home theater system, or even a PS5. If you want to learn more about Sony's new BRAVIA TVs or their Theater Quad system, I'll leave links to those videos in the description below. The first feature is one that is a really good idea in theory, but we've never really had great results using it. This is the acoustic center sync feature. In our previous video on the Sony BRAVIA Theater Quad, linked below, we touched on this feature, and one of our subscribers actually pointed out that we may have missed some important information about this. For this feature to work its very best, you must have a Sony TV from 2021 or newer. If it is an older Sony TV, the TV and soundbar will play the sound independently and not be calibrated together. The newer models actually calibrate the sound from the TV and the soundbar or quad theater system and play in unison and make it act as a center channel, and it will sound so much better. And if you use the new BRAVIA 9, which has all updated speaker drivers, or the A9000L, which has speakers directly behind the screen, you will get the best possible result with this acoustic center sync feature. Now, in addition, when we were using a compatible BRAVIA TV, you can get access to quick settings right in your TV menu that can be controlled with your TV remote. You can also utilize Sony's new Voice Zoom 3 that is powered by AI machine learning to recognize human voices and amplifies or reduces their volume to make vocals crystal clear. However, this feature can only be used if you have an A95L or new 2024 BRAVIA TV model. Now, on the back of each soundbar, you will have a port for power, the S Center Sync port, an HDMI 2.1 eARC to connect to your TV, and an HDMI in to plug in a source like an Apple TV or Roku. There's no optical or 3.5mm port, so it's important to be sure your TV has HDMI eARC to be compatible with these soundbars. While this is likely fine for most people, we would have liked to see Sony add more HDMI in ports so you could attach more than just one source to the soundbar at once and allow the bar to connect to your network via Ethernet. The previous HT-A7000 and HT-A5000 had two HDMI inputs, so we were a little sad to see them make this change down to just one. Plus, with an Ethernet port, you could have had a hardwired connection to your network and improve reliability when using things like Chromecast, although Chromecast is left out of these Sony soundbars. Each one does support all of the latest formats, including 8K HDR, 4K 120, Dolby Vision, 360 reality audio, and high-res audio. Plus, when it comes to gaming with a PS5, you'll get optimized picture settings with auto HDR tone mapping and auto genre picture mode with a compatible Sony TV. It also supports VRR, ALLM, and SBTM for an even better gaming experience. Plus, each soundbar has Spotify Connect, Apple AirPlay 2, and Bluetooth 5.2. Now, what makes these soundbars different from each other? Well, both the Bar 8 and Bar 9 are around 3 inches tall and 4.5 inches deep, but the Bar 8 is about only 43 inches in length, while the Bar 9 steps up to around 51 inches in length. This is due to the difference in the amount of drivers and type of drivers in each soundbar. The Bar 8 features 4 woofers in the front, 1 large tweeter in the center, and 2 smaller tweeters toward the edges. You'll also have 2 drivers on the sides and 2 up-firing drivers for those height effects. Now, these side-firing speakers are a big addition from the HT-A5000 as they allow them to bounce sound off your sidewalls and back to you to help create that 360 spatial audio experience. The Bar 9 has the same exact setup, except it includes 2 extra beam tweeters on the front meant to diffuse the sound horizontally for a wider soundstage. In addition, the Bar 9 also includes quad passive radiators facing upwards next to the up-firing speakers to help deliver even deeper bass. So the Bar 8 will work great for a small to medium-sized room, whereas the Bar 9, we will recommend that when you want to fill a larger room due to it having extra beam tweeters and radiators for that deep bass. One of our favorite aspects of both of these soundbars is their setup. You simply plug the soundbar into power and your TV's HDMI. Then you download the new BRAVIA Connect app and it will search for a device near you. Our system popped up right away and it will walk you through the entire setup process. You will connect to your network and calibrate the system using your phone's microphone. You will not want to skip this calibration, as we found in our testing that it makes the bar sound so much better in your room. Now, in the app, you can also control some more important features such as night mode to lower the bass to not disturb your neighbors or partner when watching a movie late at night. You also get voice enhancement, which will enhance the voices of characters on screen, and you can also turn on and off the sound field calibration. Now, you can also in the app control the volume, bass level, even adjust the sound field setting from 360 spatial sound mapping to Dolby Speaker Virtualizer to DTS Neural X, and change the height of the sound field to higher or lower. Now, we did test all the different options here, and for us, we found the 360 spatial sound mapping and leaving the height effects at about default gave us the very best results, but we would recommend that you experience these for yourself and see which one you like the best and which one sounds best in your room. I do want to point out that you do get a small remote that also works really well and has all of the buttons you should need after the initial setup process. But it's really great to have the app that allows you to go deeper into different settings if you wish to really dial in the sound to your liking. Plus, you can easily add a Sony wireless subwoofer or Sony's wireless surround speakers right in the app, and it will run the calibration again to give you the best results. Now, we set up both soundbars by themselves in a few different locations to test the calibration and overall sound quality for movies and music. The first thing we noticed that some might not even think about is that there are no reflective surfaces on these soundbars at all. This is crucial because in a theater setting, you do not want any reflective, shiny surfaces near your TV that can potentially be distracting while watching a movie. The cloth grill and etched aluminum on the back make this soundbar look very minimal and should match just about any setup. Now, we actually played the same movies that we tested the Sony BRAVIA Theater Quad with, which are 6 Underground and The Atom Project. Our first impressions were that these soundbars are a huge step up in every way from the HT-A5000 and HT-A7000. The side-firing speakers seem to work really well, and we could hear more details directly to our left and right of the listening position. When big pans happened in the soundtrack, they not only moved from left to right of the soundbar, but from left to right in the entire room. Plus, the bass was much more tight and realistic for a soundbar and was rather impressive even without the subwoofer. The Bar 9 was a big step up in the low end thanks to the extra radiators, which even helped take some of the strain away from the other drivers and actually made the small details shine through during the initial race scene in 6 Underground. Now, during some of the fight scenes in the Atom project, we were really amazed at how well both soundbars handled the soundtrack with a ton of sound effects happening all at once. They never really felt muddy or harsh and were pretty enjoyable to watch a full movie on. Now, it's clear that the Bar 9 has a leg up on the Bar 8 in terms of overall sound quality. However, adding a subwoofer and rear speakers is when things started to get really interesting. We decided to test both soundbars with the smaller SA-SW3 subwoofer and the smaller SA-RS3A wireless speakers. Adding a subwoofer to either soundbar would be our very first recommendation and is almost borderline necessary if you watch movies and want to feel that deep bass slam in your chest. Not only does it improve the entire low end in your room, but it also frees up the soundbar to focus on the vocals and height effects, which in turn gives you a completely different experience. Adding the RS3A surround speakers to the system did give us a much more realistic immersive bubble of sound, since they were actually speakers behind us instead of the soundbar attempting to fill in the back with its own calibration. However, the RS3A speakers are pretty small and to our ears didn't sound as great as the new soundbars themselves. At times we could almost notice the sound was coming out of the rear speakers just because they weren't as powerful and clear as the rest of the system. We know that the larger RS5A surround speakers do perform much better, but if it came down to choosing surrounds or a subwoofer, we'd pick a subwoofer first every time. Plus, at the price of the larger surrounds, you were starting to get into a much higher price range and may want to actually consider some different options here. Now, if you are on a budget and you want the most bang for your buck, we'd recommend getting the Bar 8 with a wireless sub. We think this setup performs slightly better than the Bar 9 all by itself. If you have a larger room or watch a lot of movies and want that deep bass slam, step up to the Bar 9 and also make sure you add a subwoofer as well. Like we said before, these soundbars, they are great on their own, but if you really want them to shine and be their best, a subwoofer is a super important addition. As for the rear speakers, we'd really only recommend them for smaller rooms where you want to have a slightly more immersive movie watching experience. And if it's in your budget, the larger RS5A will be a much better match for a soundbar of this caliber. Now, let's say you want the ultimate setup and are considering the Bar 9, the SA-SW5 larger subwoofer, and the larger RS5A surround speakers. In this case, we would recommend you should consider the BRAVIA Theater Quad with a subwoofer instead, since it's almost a similar price. We feel that the Theater Quad system will give you a much better result in overall sound quality and immersiveness. Now, if you are still unsure if the Sony Bar 8 or Bar 9 is right for you, or if there are just questions that I haven't answered in this review here, call or chat with our team of experts at audioadvice.com. Also, if you are planning a home theater or media room setup, you have to check out our Home Theater Central on our website with everything you need to get started, including our free home theater design tool. Plus, when you purchase from Audio Advice, you get free shipping, lifetime support, and a price guarantee. I'll be down in the comments and would love to hear from you about what you think about these new soundbars, so be sure to drop a comment down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications so you never miss out on any of our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.